Good catch. I was muted. How's it going? Thank you for that catch. How's everybody doing tonight? Spend some more time working on this big project. Trying to get the last of these seam lines kind of filled down here. One of those things I was actually kind of re-slicing the model to make some of these parts more connected. Try another print. Hey, what's going up? One to Fast 28. Welcome to the stream. Just sitting here working on starting to stream with this project, and then I'm gonna move on to some painting of my Warhammer stuff too, and got another project I got to do a little bit of cleanup on. So figured. Oh, I just went through the Nexus part of the new Halo game, so I am in it, but I have not gotten to play that much, but I am taking my sweet time as I play, working on side missions and all that stuff. Trying to, get those achievements that everybody wants to get. Get all those nice, wonderful points that mean nothing. But no, I finally gotten where I've got time to play it, and a little bummed it took me this long. Usually the first week the other Halo games, I just kind of would disappear for a little while. But this one not so much. So if you guys are wondering, this is actually a 3D printed tool that I found that comes in very handy because it's got flex. So when I'm going over raised sections and stuff, it actually lets me do really good cut-in work with it to kind of help me keep detail in here that might otherwise get lost because of this. I'm really getting kind of anxious because I want to get this thing in the primer before too long. Actually start really painting it, because there's a lot of this is a lot of flat color. The core, of course, is darker, and you've got kind of a bluish gray here, but then you've got this really cool New Republic stuff to paint, and I'm really kind of jazzed to actually start working on that. But gotta get rid of these seam lines, and depending on how the night goes, we may actually. So I've got this one that I got to work on. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a night desiccator or if I'm going to do the night rampager. Kind of torn between the two, so I'm trying to figure that one out, because I want to get this assembled and start working on painting it up. But it's kind of been it's been sitting under my desk for a long time, and I'm just really getting where I'm wanting to play more, and I want to have that. And that one was specifically bought to go along with my my Death Guard army. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to keep it in line with that, at least color scheme. I'll do my own color scheme with it. Keep it out of the box a little bit from the usual stuff. What do you guys think I ought to do? Kind of torn on it, to be honest. As you guys can tell, I'm doing kind of the annoying part. The painting is where this gets fun, but you got to do all the little work too to get it right. Hopefully I'm not ducking my head in the way. No one wants to look at the back of my head. Now I found just as I do models, this is kind of the part that always takes forever, is the filler. I try to do models that I try to get it more in one piece, so I don't have to do this, but sometimes, especially stuff like this that's just big, you can't do it. There's no printer really big enough and good. Well, there are printers that are big enough and probably good enough to do it, but not affordable for me in my home. So one day maybe. One day maybe. But not right now. So anybody out there having any 3D printing issues or anything going on this week, or had any fantastic prints or files they're trying out? I've got a couple going on that I'm kind of having fun with. I'm kind of starting to think ahead to this coming year's Halloween and what I want to do there, and I think I'm actually leaning towards the Halo realm, or doing a new variation on Mandalorian, actually. Of course, the last 2 years have been Star Wars, so with Mandalorian, and then this last year with the Imperial Death Trooper, but once I get this kind of built up, then it will be sanding time. I won't bore you guys with watching me sand. I promise. Is that a glass bed one of Fast 28, or is that a one of the? Oh, wait a minute. You have the magnetic bed, right? Or am I thinking of somebody else? And is it just peeling up, or is it the getting stuck on the nozzle and getting drug around? I have seen that model, but I have not tried it. Okay, so is it just like, is it peeling from the glass? Is it getting, just clinging to the nozzle and getting drug around? Or just, is it getting a certain point and it's just layer shifting? What's happening? Hey, Dirks, what's going on? I did get your email, Dirks. I'm looking at the, I've been looking at your model, trying to figure out what's a good way to do it, so. Have you considered putting it on a raft? One to fast. And give it more adhesion plate, or are you using a brim or anything like that? Huh. Are you putting anything on the glass, like glue or anything like that, that might be causing a problem? When's the last time you cleaned actually taken isopropyl alcohol and really wiped down your bed and then take a putty knife across the glass to see if within 45 minutes of printing it fails, huh? What material? Is it PETG, PLA? What are you using? Yeah, because usually if it's... that one's hard because those articulating ones, they're one piece, but they're multiple pieces. So that one kind of, you may want to check your... what's the word I'm looking for? Check your retraction and see what that is. See if it's... and also there's a Z-hop over printed parts. You may want to check that that's enabled, because it could be it's just moving over and clipping on the next piece, and that allows it to grab. So your print and calibration keeps fine. I'm almost wondering if it's just clipping, and then it grabs the model off the glass and throws it around. So check that Z-hop setting in Cura, and make sure that's checked, because the articulating one, while it is one piece, it is actually a bunch of pieces. So it's not hard for the printer to actually clip as it's going around on that. Give that setting a try and see if that helps you out. Make sure your retraction's good too. But that Z-hop over... Having Z-hop enabled can save you 3mm. Hang on one second. Let's pop Cure open. What do I have mine at? Because I don't like doing articulating stuff. They're painful sometimes. I tried to do that the slug, and mine won't pop to articulate. But then I do things like these reindeer that have an articulation joint and come out just fine. So it's kind of hard to say. So let's look at... I know I'm probably out of frame here. Z-hop. Z-hop speed 5, and my Z-hop height is 0.4, so not very high. And what's my retraction? My retraction distance is 6.5 is usually what I use. Oh no, that's not high for a direct drive. The retraction's just it's sucking the filament back up in it, so that you're not having stringing and different things like that. So the retraction is just it pulling the filament back up and then pushing it back down. The Z-hop is the printer actually lifting up and moving over and setting back down. So kind of one of those things, kind of keep that in mind as you go through this. And even with a direct drive, 6.5 is not too high. So because like my CR10 V3, I'm using 6.5 for the retraction distance, and my V2s. That kind of seems to be a sweet spot for my my CR10 newer versions. My older one, I'm using the K-Swiss, so full metal hot end, so I can't judge that one with the others. So appreciate it, Dirk. This one is definitely being a long one in process, and if my power company would stop knocking my power out on the one printer I don't have a battery backup on, I would have the Imperial version of this ship. But I'm not getting that lucky here lately. So, but this one is getting closer and closer to being ready to sand, which makes me a happy camper. Because once it's sanded, then I can primer, and we can get to painting this. So I asked it earlier. I know you weren't on here, Dirk, but I'm thinking about starting an assembly of this on here. Need your guys' opinion. Night Desiccator or Night Rampager? I'm leaning towards the Desiccator, but I could probably be easily convinced to go for the Rampager. So in actuality, in the Star Wars Legends and the book lore, the Battle of Quat, there were 2 Super Star Destroyer Executor class that were actually captured in orbit while being repaired by the New Republic, which that also became the New Republic's emblem. So actually, these ships in the books during the wars with Thrawn and all that were pressed in for Republic service. So that stick is actually a stick that I have 3D printed that I'm just using to do a clean pull across the seam. Because what's nice is I 3D print it, I mess it up, I just pitch it. So and there's just various sizes. I can send you the link to the model after the stream. I can post it in the comments of different sizes that you can print. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Print of various different sizes and widths to use for this process. It's great too if you don't want to get super glue on your hands. So yeah, I'm kind of big into Warhammer, so it's kind of one of those things. But those sticks, I 3D print them on my Odin 5, and they're just kind of nice disposable little sticks. But I'll put the link to them in the comments. That way you guys, if you want to print them for your own use, they're out there because they come in handy. And like I said, a lot of people, you're going through a bunch of cotton swabs or stuff like that. This, print it, throw it away. So, or you can actually cut the tip and reuse it later. So makes it kind of nice, but also lets me get a good flat seam across these lines, because I will be honest with you, I am getting tired of filling this model. It is been a big process to fill this one. Not as big as doing a helmet or anything like that, but it's I definitely want some good thin lines and smooth lines on this one, so trying to make sure it looks good. So in case I decide to, this ship will become one of my normal videos because it's just too awesome not to. But just kind of, it lets me do a lot of cool stuff. Get some of these gaps I forgot last week. Awesome. All right. So these are just kind of smoothers to do it. Normally, you would see me using a 3D printing pen. Unfortunately, mine bit the dust, and I have just not pulled the trigger on a new one, because then I would be actually putting filament in the gap, which is what I prefer to do. And then I would heat up a razor blade and trim it down, and then come in with this filler. Well, that figure is actually a actual official kit, so I just be putting it together, and a lot of the same things that are going into this go into that, putting those together too. So but I do have one printed I can probably put on the next stream next week, but I did it completely in resin. Just because of the sharp details, it was definitely a I'm gonna do this in resin, but it's actually I didn't think about even trying it in a on an FDM. Probably should because you guys can tell I can make FDM sing with the detail that you guys can see on this one. Ooh, just noticed there's some cleanup needed right there. Did not notice the stringing in here. That cleaned up. Always that area where it can jump from piece to piece and kind of leave a gap. And it's one of the things with models this size, you're always going to be finding, oh, I could have done that better. But the question comes down to, did you have fun? The answer is yes. Then you did it great. As long as you had fun and you are happy with your model, that's all that matters. I have a hard time with the I need to be happy. So I have a hard time being happy with my model sometimes. Sometimes I'll... what's cool about FDM and resin is I use a compound called LA Totally Awesome. I'm not happy with how I painted a model. I can go back, throw it in my sonic cleaner, and with some LA Totally Awesome, eat the paint off and do it again. So, and actually I caught myself doing that more than I probably should in the last few years. Even on older models that I painted years ago, I've caught myself going back and redoing it. So, because basically, like these live streams, I'm not going to limit it to just 3D prints. I'm gonna basically just anything model I'm gonna pull in. So retraction, don't always go with. Want to fast with your question with retraction. No two printers ever are the same. What may work great on one printer may not be very good on another. So retraction is you've got to find what setting works best for you and run with it. That is my best advice I can give you. Just because someone says these are the bee's knees settings, may not be the best settings for you. So just keep that in mind. It can be a good starting place to get close, but may not be the best for your machine. Because I can tell you, I've got 4 CR10s down there. They're all close, but not identical. So get these last few gaps that I didn't get here in here. I don't be too picky about these. There we go. All right. Filler round number 3 is almost in the books. A little bit of work I want to do on some of these high spots just to kind of smooth everything out a little bit. A lot of this will get smoothed out in sanding, but I just want to get a little bit, try to get rid of those seams a little bit more before we go to that phase. And like I said, guys, I'll do sanding off camera. Hopefully the next time you see this model, it will be primered at least, and we'll do some painting on here. But sanding is the next name of the game. Awesome. So, and again, I'm just using Vallejo plastic putty resin. Works really well. Get it where you can actually see it. And just buy it on Amazon. I can put a link in the description, and we can go from there. So I've done actually I think it's Sanix 3D did a really awesome Black Panther, and if you go look at some of my videos, you'll see it in the background there. It was a really intricate figure, and I did it all in FDM, and I was very pleased. And also, there's a video out there on Master Chief, actually. I did of him. It's a controller holder, and I was very happy with that one. Those were all FDM prints, so. Awesome, Dirk. I'm glad to hear that those adjusts on the temps helped you out. That's really good to hear, because I know those temps can be a pain in the backside of getting it lined out. Actually, want to ask, what is your temps that you're using? Because you say you're getting pull away. So that's actually a really good question. I'm going to set this guy off to the side. Let it dry. Actually, this one's one that's going to be coming up on the channel here in the next few months, and actually maybe kind of pushing me towards my Halloween costume, is Master Chief's Halo 1 pistol. I was very pleased with the way this came out. This was a 1.5 day print for all the parts, and it came out really, really well. Really, you know, it's not a lot of detail on the gun even in the game, so I was really pleased with how this came out. So we'll be doing some work on that, because there's some filling. This isn't even glued together. It's really, honestly, straight out of the mold, just pressed together. And actually, I know I talk about this tool a lot, but I got to finish fixing the clip, because it's too thick, unfortunately. I think my walls were too thick, so I've got to use my mold line remover here to kind of peel it back. I don't want to peel it too much. And if you guys don't have this, I hate using X-Acto knives. This is the Citadel mold line remover, and what I love about it is, you guys saw it was just taking strips off the PLA, but like an X-Acto knife, it ain't gonna cut me. I recommend this thing in tons of videos. It's definitely a tool worth getting. It's a little expensive, but I'll pay a little bit to not cut my hand. And yes, I know I should be sturdy enough not to have that problem, but I do. But this tool has been, ever since I've run across it, actually I ran across it because of my Warhammer figurines that I work on. It's been really, really huge help. Especially with just getting small seam lines and stuff like that cut off. Because you guys can see, I mean, this is just PLA and it's just ripping right into it. And it doesn't gouge like a knife really would, because it's peeling away layers. That's what makes this tool really cool. Is it's just peeling away a layer so that I can actually just get it's thinned down to what I need to. And I'm actually thinking about painting this one using the graphite method, which will be a black gloss, and then I'll come back with graphite powder and actually brush it in to give the metallic detail, and then a matte lacquer finish to really kind of pull it and give it a finished look. But I love that this just slides. Got to find a way to make it not sound so shrieky, but that's one step at a time, and I still got a little bit of cleanup to do with some of the tools to make this a little bit of a cleaner cut. But what I'd like is to actually get this clip right now. It's just an extended magazine, so kind of one of those fun things. It's a fun project that I'm getting ready to really start working on. Now I've been doing some cool stuff. There will be no stream December 28th, but you guys will get a video on the VoxLab Proxima 6 resin printer. So I'm definitely going to start pushing resin a bit more, especially in this setting. I want to bring resin more to the table. as we get through kind of moving forward. I need to get a new map. My piece of paper here is torn, but I'll do that eventually. So, kind of one of those things. Dirk, you're printing Thor's hammer and Battlestar. Now, did you print Battlestar Pegasus or did you print the Galactica? So I've done both, and the Pegasus is definitely the easiest. Galactica's got so many rib lines that stand out, makes that model a pain to print and get a good peel off of all the support. So, let's see here. What do I need to work on? I got so much stuff to work on. Actually, I'm going to pull this one over because I need to get some painting done on it. So, this is all pieces of a model kit, not a 3D printed model, of the Necron Tesseract arc. And basically, this is the central part, and these all connect in. But once they're all connected in, I can't get at this surface anymore. And I need to come back in with a bunch of Rune Lord brass. And there's all these little bugs in here, and you can't see it, that need to be painted with the Rune Lord brass and a little bit of green. I can't decide if I want to go with a green or if I want to go with a red. The Pegasus is fun. The model that I show and out there, I got a video on it of me printing it. The classic shuttle was fun. It looks like a lot of fun, and actually that design, if you look at the Star Trek movies, the shuttle in the space dock is not too far off from that actual same model. If you actually really look at them, they just change the front of it a little bit. I'm doing good. Hopefully you guys are all doing good. Just kind of one of those things kind of keep in mind as you go through. I'm not going to run the stream too late tonight either, because it's the holiday season and I've got a bunch of traveling coming up. I just realized that's broken. Let's get that fixed here real quick. I don't want pieces falling off. This model sitting here is probably one of the biggest Warhammer models I've assembled. I've got a lot still to assemble. Oh, come on. Hold on to there. There you go. Let that guy dry. But a lot of painting got to go on. I don't know if I want to tackle this. And this Friday's video, kind of a sneak peek, guys. That's what I talk about, is this post-finishing process that you guys have actually seen me actually working on. I talk about the handy little sticks that I was using earlier for putting the resin on. I talk about paint brushes. I talk about pries, because you guys saw how hard it was initially for me to get the support out of that Super Star Destroyer. And I'm a little ashamed to admit there's still some in there. And knowing I've got to do it again is going to be a bit of I kind of want to cry a little bit. I was thinking next stream, I'm thinking about doing a slicing stream where I'm just down there slicing models, getting ready to send them to the printer. What are you guys' thoughts on that, where you're actually seeing me work with my settings and all that stuff? And actually may even actually see me in Mesh Mixer fixing some stuff. Yeah, the Pegasus model, I mean, I don't even know where mine's gone. I mean, it's about 2 feet long, what mine came out to in the long run, but if I go any bigger, I'm going to have to take the model actually into Mesh Mixer and sharpen. That's kind of the big thing. It needs some detail sharpening long term for that to be a really good model. Hang on, let me go grab it. There we go. All right, so for this to be larger, I feel like a lot of detail is going to come out of it, because like here on this back side, I wish the light would actually show it. Come on. Like these guns would look, they just looked wonky. And they kind of do even at this scale. They just kind of look wonky and they don't feel right going any larger. And I actually need to come back with a different gray and change their color to make them actually look used. This one by far is not done. It's close, but because I haven't done any weathering. This one just rolled off the shipyard. So probably going to do a slicing one next time, just down at my desk. You guys will see my screen. I don't know if I'll have the little side screen here showing me, but you guys will actually get to sit there and see me send these off to Octoprint. We can watch the first layer scariness that we all go through as we print. Yeah, Mesh Mixer is an awesome tool, and it's one of those things, I just haven't dug into it enough. I use it to fix things and to cut things up is pretty much what I should do more in it. I really should, because I want to just make the models work. So at the time, I'm not even thinking about it. How would I show this? I just fix it and I go on, because I'm trying to get a print. So a lot of times when I'm thinking of making a video put out there, it's, can I actually get this printed? So before I'm actually laying out the full details of the video, I've actually printed the model. And there are prints that never make it to the channel, because I just don't think they're good enough. And that's me more than anything. Is I'm more critical probably than I should be about putting stuff on here than I really probably should be. But also, if you guys have watched some of the videos, I don't hesitate to show you my fails. There are time lapses out there where you will see it just bomb, and I start it again. There's some files I may go through, I may have printed 6 different ways before I figure out the model of how I'm going to show it to you, and I actually print it. And a great example of this that really kind of irks me is the Mandalorian helmets. They drive me nuts, because I will have people come into the comments, oh, you should flip it over and print it upside down and use less material. That works great, except where your support is touching that model on the outside of your skin. I would rather waste material on the inside where you're not going to see that and have a good, clean finish. So and that's one of, and that's a, Dirk, you're throwing out a great point there. And that's actually something I threw out in a video that's coming up. Is I threw out the challenge. If you're a model designer and want me to print something, throw it over to me. Because there's a mutual assured destruction here. That I print your model and I put it, and I find it good enough to put on my channel. Guess what? I'm driving people over to you. So if you're charging like $1 for this model on Cult 3D or Pinterest or wherever, granted, I'm making money from the video, but you're making money because I'm saying your model is good. And it's kind of one of those things, I don't mind people asking me to print something, because, you know, it's one of those things, like Dirk, you're asking me to do that, what is it? The quad fighter from Flash Gordon. It's down there in pieces right now, because I'm trying to figure it out. Because I don't think there's a good way to print it in one piece. And that's very frustrating. So and Dirk, you make a great point there. There's a lot of model makers that, or people that have taken a 3D render and thrown it on Thingiverse, but it's not an actual 3D printable model. You get them on your, you'll get them in Cura and stuff like that, and you'll see print manifold errors, and then you go to slice it and the parts missing. Actually, here's a great example of that. Beautiful model. Love this Republic or this Imperial Light Cruiser. If it had been finished, it wasn't finished. The detail wasn't applied correctly, and so it wouldn't apply. As Kira read it, this didn't actually exist in the file, and so Kira didn't print it. And that happens a lot. Star Trek ships, they drive me nuts, because a lot of these models, people have gone out and gotten the 3D CGI model and threw it out and said, here you go. It's not finished. It's missing parts. Don't get me wrong, there's some great Star Trek models out there and some great concepts. I mean, this guy's an all good things ambassador class. I love this model. I am jazzed to get to paint this thing, but it took forever to get this model to work. Even the original one you guys can see in the saucer section there. I don't know if the light's going to show up. There are defects right where my thumb is, that makes this model kind of suck, because it wasn't finished. Everything else looks great, but unfortunately the saucer section is taking a lot of work. I thought it was my printer that screwed up, and I printed it again with different settings and resliced it and re-angled it, and the same problem occurred. So it's not my printer. And I rolled out the printer by printing on another printer. So, but it's also taking the time when you're slicing a model. When you're slicing a model, a lot of people just put it on the plate. Because I've had a lot of, if you guys notice me printing, I print Star Trek ships like this, or like this, straight up and down. This works best for me. One, I'm getting the least contact points, so it means less sanding. And it also means I'm looking at the structure as it raises. I'm looking at how much support I'm using, how I can place supports to get an actual good print. Because if I just threw it on my build plate like this, oh my gosh, the supports would be horrendous. And then you've got all that stuff you got to take off the model, and that would not be pleasant. And this is one I've started working on. I just haven't gotten very far. One of those things, I print more than I paint. As you can see, the poor Yamato has been sitting here since it hasn't moved since last week. But like the Pegasus, it's in 6 pieces. It's well designed because the seam lines are actually lines in the material. The model maker thought this model through when he designed it, that this actual line in the bay is actually a panel line. So if it doesn't come out quite right, it fits together fine. And that's really cool part of this Pegasus model, is the way he actually looked at it when he sliced it and cut it into pieces. Some people just go hacking away. It drives me nuts when I get some of those models. So not every model is created equal. There are really good model makers out there. Sanix 3D is one of them, especially for like figurines. His models are just gorgeous. Charges a lot, but they're gorgeous, and you're going to get a good print. This one of Mercy came from my mini factory. It was actually free. And there's a little bit of sanding I need to do on her wings. But all in all, and actually, I'm not even sure I'm going to sand it. I think I may use the reds and the yellows to actually make that into something a little bit more. But for a single print, this is gorgeous. And I've got another one sitting down on my printer that I need to get off and clean up, that I made some adjustments to try to make it a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to painting this one. Actually, I may not paint this one. I may hand this over to my father to paint. But Overwatch, she's always been my favorite character in Overwatch. So, and just kind of one of those things, I need to start doing more. I need to do some more character base. I need to kind of spread my gap. on characters and designs I'm doing, because I've still got the Lilith that unfortunately I've gotten nowhere with. I need to start working on some more. Definitely need to get the base done, because it's actually pretty simple to come in with the grays and that, and get another coat in here and get some blood in there, and then come in with some of the dirt and the filth to kind of finish the base off. And then it's painting her, which a lot of her stuff is black anyway, so I just need to come in with some grays and stuff and kind of brighten the wings up, and then get into her face with even more grays and kind of pull these out to some browns and some golds on her shoulders and that, and golds and that down her dress. So honestly, there's not a whole ton of painting here except for her eyes. But this is a hybrid. This is an FDM base with a resin print. And you guys, don't be limited on what you think printing. My preference is FDM. It's quick, it's easy to clean up. I don't have to wear gloves. I don't have the mess. But I like resin too, because I get really... I don't think I could do this on an FDM printer, as beautiful as it is. So it's one of those things, kind of an awesome thing. So we are in the holidays. Anybody getting anything interesting 3D printing wise for the holidays? Couple companies have treated me with new toys that you guys will see coming up on the channel, because like I said, the 28th there will not be a live stream, but you guys will get a video instead. Then all kind of the Friday stuff is all talking about process here lately, because well, one, the Super Star Destroyer is not done, and this guy is probably going with me over vacation with a few paints to get this started into the paint mode, is my hope, while I'm taking that week off after Christmas to actually go visit family and travel a little bit. And I think I'm going to take this and some paints along, and I'm going to take an airbrush the main flat coats before I leave, and take this to do some detailing, get a video out on this hopefully early in the next year. That, and just I'm trying to see what changes are coming for 3D printing with new printers and different things like that, and different materials for 2022 is really a big goal of the channel this year. I didn't really get to any painting, but more showing off than I did anything. But we'll I'll take a look and get a few files together for next week, and we'll try a slicing party next week, if you guys are all down for that. The Serenity. Oh, I've tried the Serenity a couple times, and I've never been happy with the models I've found. But I may have to give that one another look, because now that they're talking about rebooting the series, which I'm sorry, if you ain't got Nathan Fillion in there, I don't think you can do it. But that's just me. Would love to have seen an animated series. I think they could have done a lot of cool stuff with an animated series of Firefly. But that, and all the current actors can come back with just their voice. They don't have to be on the live TV show. But hey, I'm just a person. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things. I've got a lot going on model wise, because I'm trying to decide if I want to stick with the good old green scheme with this, or if I want to go the red scheme, because actually, where's my other Catan? I started with the green on this one. Put my hand behind it, maybe it'll show a little better. With the green scheme. And then I saw someone had done it in the red, and I'm just like, oh, the red looks beautiful, and I'm kind of, all my other Necron stuff is in the green, so I'm thinking about trying to do a reddish green. Go check out the channel. There is a video of the Normandy 2 actually out on the channel already. I have done that one, but I have not painted her. Dirk, if you don't have any plans for Christmas Day after the presents are open, you can do it in a day. There's like 11 episodes. And then, there is the movie. some of us are like, yeah, the movie was just a thing, but yeah, you can watch the whole one season in pretty much a day of Firefly. It's a good show. Yeah, definitely recommend it. It was fun. Mass Effect is also a fun one out there. I've actually done a couple resident prints of Talizora, Vaz Normandy, but it's just kind of one of those things. I don't have them over here to paint, so kind of one of those things. It's a little bit of extra work I haven't gotten to, and you guys can definitely tell I've got a lot of painting going on, because this guy alone is taking a lot of work to get where I've gotten it to, and the monolith over here, and then I've got the Silent King that also working on. So I'll probably be a good boy and keep the red scheme going on this one, or keep the green scheme going on this, but I may add a little bit of red just to have some fun with it. So, but Dirk, yeah, if you're sci-fi, you like Star Trek, I know you like Space Above Beyond, Battlestar Galactica. It's a Western sci-fi. If cowboys had a spaceship, is Firefly, and it's a lot of fun because they have a very good dynamic of what they've built there. And I was very sad to see that show go. Yeah, Wanna Fast. I'm glad you agree with me because it is a good show. Just like Space Above and Beyond, it's a good one too. That should have gone further than it did. But if you do watch Firefly, do not start with the movie. Don't do it. Start with the show. I think it's on. Is it on Hulu? I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon. I don't know if it's on Hulu. I don't know where the show actually is, because I actually have it on DVD downstairs. Yes, I am not lame. I still have DVDs. But again, I do kind of hope you guys enjoy Friday's movie, Friday's episode, because this week is a bit different. I'm actually just talking about the tools that I use to actually take a model from the raft to getting it here. So I talk about a lot of the tools that I use. You may disagree with some of the tools I use, but I use them. Each tool has a reason why I use it. So I kind of hope you guys enjoy that. Huh. I'll have to take a look at that one, Dirk. I didn't know that one was out there. But and Wanna Fast, yeah. I love the Chinese culture edition into Firefly was almost like a Chinese American cowboy space. It had so much going on. It was a train wreck, and the whole crew is a train wreck. So. Max size starship on my Mono X. So the Mono X is an 8-inch build plate, which I've actually, VoxLab and I have been talking. I'm trying to get them to send me their $400, their version of the Mono X. Basically, they sent me the 6-inch version. Okay, stick with me for one moment. You asked, so I'll deliver. Oh, that one just needs to go in the trash. So, resin prints. You've got Star Wars X-Wing, B-Wing model that I've done on my Creality, an Akiazi class Federation starship. This guy's primer. I actually just need to paint him, but I've done that one on the 6-inch, not my Photon Mono. This guy, Imperial Raider, this was done on the Photon Mono X and came out gorgeous. I need to primer it. I still have some sanding to do where I've removed some supports, but all in all, for a model, this thing came out beautiful. And this is about 10 inches long. Just notice there's still a piece of support right there that I gotta get off, but I can definitely do that here on the streams. But just size wise, so that's about probably as good as I can get on the smaller printer. This is the Photon Mono. Now, if you do something like this, here's a word of advice: don't do this. Do this. Have it at an angle, so that tip is not just jutting down into your FEP. You'll tear your FEP paper. I wound up getting, luckily I had the good warranty, and got a replacement and learned my lesson the hard way. This is one I'm still, you guys can see I had a very bad problem with supports on the bottom. But it's on the bottom, and it's nothing a file can't take care of, but the Andromeda Ascendant. And I printed this all in one piece, which was pretty cool. Not so cool, but still a work in progress that I'm working on. So this one was just recently done. I did this one a while ago, and if you watch the background in my videos, you'll actually see I did a comparable size tentative 5. With the resin, I can't remember what I had my setting, because this wasn't my model. This was a model that I found, and I honestly didn't thicken anything. Mine was all exposure times, and we can talk about that next week. I can bring up Shinto Box and show you guys my settings. So, because like right here, it didn't come out great, but I can also make this battle damage. Because, yeah, why not? But the actual Star Wars Armada ship of this one is only 2 inches longer. So in reality, and they charge, what, $100 for that ship, I think? And I think I spent $10. And I can probably do this in FDM, too. I may actually try that in FDM. I hadn't even done that. Make a good size one in FDM. But yeah, that's completely resin. This is done with Illigu, standard photo resin. Most of this stuff is, except for Mercy. If you guys caught my last video, I've gotten on to, eSun sent me a bottle. I've already bought a second bottle of their tough resin. And it prints gorgeous. And what I love about it is when I take it out, the standard resin is pretty hard. The Illigu resin has a good amount of flex, makes it really easy to take the supports off. I was really impressed with that before I cured it. So, granted, it's expensive. The thick resin for the bottle, or for the tough resin, is almost twice what the standard resin is. But, whew. But the only thing that I did notice about this one is I infilled it too much. It's really heavy, which probably was causing problems during the print process. So it's printed basically like that, up and down, pulling it up into the long layers and having supports all through here. And one thing with the Photon Mono X that you definitely got to watch out for is those first few layers exposure time. You want those to be longer than your standard exposure lines, because you want that to get a good firm hold and be really good and harder on that build plate as it builds up and that heavy weight gets on that build plate. So that was one thing I had to learn with the Photon Mono X. I do have some Warhammer guys down there. I bought Warhammer 40k kill team Octeris, because I think the Death Guard or Death Corp of Krieg is actually pretty cool looking models, and they give you a ton of arm options, but not only like 10 guys. So there's 10 additional arm sets, and I found the bodies, so I printed those. So it kind of depends. Infill depends on the model. I'm still learning resin. I haven't done a ton with resin. So with these, the walls can negate infill, but sometimes you just want strength. So I'll infill higher than what's usually recommended. So infill is one of those things you got to play it by the model. And I just didn't know enough about this one when I went and did it. If I did it again, I would do it very differently. But I need to get it to where my Canon camera is actually catching the get this maneuvered here right, is catching the resin printer as it prints, so I can bring those time lapses to the table. Right now, the sensor that's supposed to be making my camera take a photo, it's not working, and I got to get that one figured out. But there's definitely a lot of cool stuff that you can do, and that Photon Mono X, you can definitely get good big prints, and this is a great example of it, as well as the Mercy, because this was printed in one print. I angled it, and you got a really good build area there. No, infill can actually be a help to a print, because if it's too hollow, it'll collapse. It can collapse in on itself, or the walls may just not have enough strength to actually build up. So infill, especially FDM prints, infill can be a good thing. You just don't want to overdo it. You don't want to do 100% infill and have a big solid chunk of wasted plastic. For example, like this one, this guy's at 10% infill. So it gives it good strength. I can't press it in, but as it was building up, it gave it something to build up off on as it was building these layers. So I use the cube pattern. So it's basically it's diamonds inside. Check out some of my time-lapse videos. You should be able to see that infill pattern being incorporated. So resin, I still choose the cube pattern usually. The zigzag, it's just what I trust. So, and I know how to clean it up on like filament models and resin models. When it comes to, once you've cured it, the cleanup is basically the same, except key thing, when you sand this, wear a face mask, and probably want eye protection on, because you're sanding off harmful resin, where this stuff is not so bad. So kind of keep that in mind. And oh my, I have run out of time tonight, guys. I'm gonna have to cut the stream here. I've got to go take care of a few other things. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. This will become a video afterward. If you're new here and just catching the stream and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys later on next week. And I'll plan on doing the slicing session we talked about tonight, guys. So have a good one. Hopefully you guys have a good, happy holidays if you don't catch the next stream. And we'll see you guys in the next video.